The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Savannah Humoller, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it is a Monday here at the Star in Frisco, and time for another edition of Savannah Shots.
Here I am, ready to go.
Sitting in Mickey Spagnola's
Savannah
seat.
Shots.
That's right.
I like that.
Yep. Oh, the old Wally Pip and Lou Gehrig right here. Okay, and so Mickey has tapped out. He is Wally Pip, and we've got Lou Gehrig sitting in Mickey's
And
catbird
he will
seat
never
here.
be back.
That's right.
Exactly.
Forevermore.
Things will never be the same.
Forevermore, it's Savannah Shots here. And we've got so much to get into. It's the month of March. And you know what that means?
That means that Black History Month is over with.
Exactly.
So we're on to Women's History Month, and so that means Savannah sits in
There
with
you
It is
go.
Savannah Shots. It is Savannah Shots today, everybody.
That's right. Yeah. Caitlin Clark got us started in the right way.
There you go,
You
baby.
know, breaking Pistol Pete's record. And
Impressive.
Yep. And so here we go. But it's March Madness, and we're not talking basketball.
Talking free agency.
That's exactly right. 1 week
go.
from right now is when the big money. Well, the big money's already starting to fly.
Right.
Just keep your own players.
Big money's being eliminated too. I mean,
That's right.
We're making moves, right?
Yep.
Cowboys?
We've been making moves.
Yeah.
There's
And-
been lots of stuff going on the last week.
And then, but next Monday is when the legal tampering period begins.
Oh, okay.
You know, and so that's
legal time.
that's when we start finding out who's going where, and then the actual signing on the dotted line takes place Wednesday, a week from Wednesday at 3:00, which is the first day of the new year. But it's all happening right now.
It's happening, Bill.
It's a lot.
It's happening.
That's right. And with breaking news this morning out of Tampa, where Mike Evans has a new contract,
Nice.
which can affect things here in Dallas. When you got a wide receiver named Mike Evans who gets 2 years, $52 million, my math says that's $26 million a year. So CD,
It's a lot.
Damn.
I think we're going over 30.
Damn.
I think we're going over 30.
So
Over 30?
CD's
I
just
like
sitting
it.
back like, okay. I'll be waiting on you guys. I'll be right here.
Yep.
I'm right here.
Yep. So how you doing, Savannah?
I'm great.
Good. And you
Yeah.
watched Combine this weekend?
Watched a little bit of the Combine. Also had some Dallas Stars hockey games. I was
that's
covering
right.
Yeah,
too,
you can't
so
mention
I'm
Savannah
doing
without
both.
without stars. Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was doing both.
They've
But-
got, and speaking of stars being born, there's one, you need to start keeping track of these Dallas Stars, Everson, because they've got a 21-year-old Logan Stankoven who scored 4 goals the first week, 3 goals, something like that.
It was 3 goals, 1 assist in his first 4 games.
Yep.
He's incredible.
Wow.
Yep. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So where do we start on this edition of Mick Shots? I had forgotten that Mickey wasn't going to be here today, and so he's on some secluded island somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With his 10 speed.
Actually, no, I
Yeah.
think he's not on an island. I think he's on a mountain.
Oh,
somewhere.
he's on a mountaintop. He's
Yes.
scaling a mountain somewhere.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, fresh snow, baby. Fresh powder.
Yeah.
Well, should we start Combine, Bill?
He's telling people about his Achilles injury. That he,
Yeah, see, on the ski lift, he definitely
And
is
they're
right
like,
now.
"Oh, you look amazing." So someone just had Achilles surgery. They're like, "Yeah, I know. Thanks. Yeah, that's me. That's me." Yeah.
Where would you like to start, Savannah?
Ooh, let's see.
Oh, Savannah's got her own legal
I-
pad.
Oh Lord.
If I'm sitting in Mickey's seat, I'm
You
bringing
got to
a
have
legal,
a legal
pad today.
pad. I got my big green notebook out.
Let's start Xavier Worthy
Yeah.
with a 40-yard dash, 4.21, beat the record. Incredible. Did you guys watch it, Everson?
I saw
I
the
thought
highlight
that they
of it.
said it was sub 4.2.
No,
4.21.
4.21.
It was 4.21 because
4.21. In
someone
fact,
initially said it was sub 4.
And it was on his second attempt. He went 4.25 on his first 40, I think, and normally that would be good enough.
Right.
And he said,
Dion
no.
would have put his spikes up, his cleats up right there and say, I'm done.
Yeah, but that's not the record. And so John Ross had the record, and Xavier Worthy says, I'm going for the record. And
Okay,
he got
hold up. John Ross has the record. Who is that?
He was like the 8th pick in the draft. Cincinnati.
2017.
Okay.
2017.
How did he turn out?
Exactly.
I'm just asking.
Now, Xavier Worthy, he has shown his worthiness as a football player at the University of Texas. He's a good player, so he's not just a track guy. But 4.21, and he is 165 pounds. So let me ask you this. Is it more impressive that Xavier Worthy ran a 4.21 at 165 pounds, or Everson? Is it more impressive that 366-pound Vander Esch, the Texas defensive tackle, ran a 5.27?
Ooh, that's scary.
366 pounds.
That's scary.
That's
man.
impressive.
So just think about this, okay? He weighs 201 pounds more than Worthy and was just 1 second slower.
That's crazy.
You know?
I think that would be the scariest to me. I mean, it's scary to line up on a little guy that can run past you, but it's even scary to have a huge guy that can come and hit you. See, he's coming to
at that
hit
speed.
you. Yeah, a little guy's getting away from you. This guy's coming to hit you.
Okay.
That's more
Be like,
scary.
okay, so Vander Esch, his Texas teammate, is probably telling Xavier Worthy, okay, now, you ran a 4.21. That's real impressive. Okay, now you put one 100-pound weight in your right hand and another 100-pound weight in your left hand, and now try and run a 5.27. That's what I just did.
So he's from Texas.
Yeah.
He's from Texas.
Well, Worthy?
Yes.
He's from Fresno, California, but he played at Texas.
So wait, you have two guys on Texas with that kind of speed? Because the other guy you just mentioned.
Well, Sweat is a defensive tackle.
No.
But their wide receiver.
Worthy.
Is Worthy?
Worthy is one of their wide receivers. And Adonai, or how you pronounce his first name, A.D. Mitchell, the transfer from Georgia, he ran like a 4.3 and blew up the other.
And that's the two UT guys.
Two UT guys.
That's what I thought.
They got another one.
That's
Jordan Whittington is in the draft. So, they got some weapons down there.
Kind of speed.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
And Worthy's been there. He was there for 3 years. Mitchell just transferred there from Georgia after scoring significant touchdowns for Georgia in the SEC championship game and the national championship game. He's got some CD Lamb in him. Mitchell does. He's
like a little shiftiness.
Yeah, and he kind of has the same build as CD. He kind of just. His mannerisms.
Takes the hits. Knows how to avoid.
He's not, I haven't seen him enough to make that claim yet.
Right.
But CD's toughness is as impressive as anything, and his run after catch. But Mitchell has, it's going to be interesting to see where these two Texas wide receivers go.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I had heard of Mitchell first.
Yeah,
right. I hadn't even heard about
it. No. Worthy came on strong his freshman year at Texas. And he's just a slight, wiry guy, but tough and very fast, obviously. But made a lot of plays his freshman year. Kind of, it seemed to me, took a little bit of a step back his second year. Maybe he was hurt, I don't know, and then came on again this year. But they're good. The reason that Texas got in the playoff is wide receivers are really good.
Any other standouts that you saw at the combine?
There's... I didn't watch it as closely as I will.
Yeah.
I hit record on it.
Hey, you can't miss stuff.
The green notebook is.
That's right. I didn't have a
getting
chance.
filled.
I had to go to my grandson son's soccer game and stuff, and then it was Sunday Fun Day yesterday, downtown Grapevine.
You are too old for Sunday Fun Day. My daughter says that.
No,
you are too old for
it's
Sunday
with
Fun
my kids.
Okay,
It's with my daughters. That's what they call it. So
all right. You're with me then. You're with
That's
me.
right. That's right. So it was too.
No,
it was too
you
pretty a
guys
day
can
to
still
stay inside.
Sunday Fun Day. Come on.
No, man. When my daughter starts saying that, then I know I'm not included in the plans for today.
It's without
you guys go have some fun.
Yeah. So, but it's going to be very interesting because the Cowboys have needs across the board, obviously.
A lot of needs.
And so, and they have needs because you get cheaper labor in the draft than what you will find in free agency.
So, who are we replacing?
Well, should we start with the offensive tackle?
Our big news.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can do that. Tyron Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Unlikely to return to the Cowboys after 13 seasons.
Sadness.
Those are reports. Now, Jerry did his, I think
His
it's
what?
probably his 35th annual Combine Cowboys bus press conference on Friday, late Friday afternoon. And it was... and obviously they asked him about Tyron, and the door is definitely open. Now, I think what has happened since that press conference is they did have a meeting of sorts with Tyron's agent, and then reports came out that they're going to be too far apart to reach an agreement. But that could just be posturing too. So we'll see.
Jerry's couple exact words from him on Tyron Smith. He's had a great career. He's a Hall of Fame player. So
there's no doubt about that.
Exactly.
But where are we now? That's so much about what are you going to do with him this season. When I saw last year, we talked about Tony Pollard, who's another one. I was a bit. You could see that Tyron was struggling. He's been struggling really for the past, I'd say, at least the past 3 years with the injuries and things. That at least this year he didn't miss as many plays, didn't miss as many games, but his effectiveness, obviously, himself and I dare say Zach Martin as well. You can just kind of see it. It's a consistent thing now. The injuries, the games where we really need that culture to come through. It's not there anymore. That's why we're going through running backs now. Because the offensive line really, they're really not controlling things the way we needed them to in the big games.
Right.
And Tyron and Zach, they are both, they'll be honest with you. If they were honest with you, they would say that their failure has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
It's a young man's game.
It is, just the way it is, bro. I hate to see these, especially Tyron. I remember, I still have the video of him dancing. I was just around him doing an autograph session on some island on some cruise we went on. And this guy, man, is just, I
Can we see the video?
I could show you that video. I don't know if Tyron might sue me or something. It ain't pretty. But just to see someone that huge sit by him and sign autographs, I was always impressed with his just massive presence, and he's always been that quiet guy.
Yeah,
that quiet professional,
gentle giant.
Never complained. I don't think he ever complained, and so I'll take not a bold stance, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gone. I would say he's gone.
I think the Cowboys would like him back, but it's at a certain price. And actually, his money last year was not great by Hall of Fame standards. I think he was on a 1-year, $6 million deal. But
I did not know that.
When you look at
that is a bargain.
Yes, exactly.
That is a bargain
for an offensive tackle.
Yeah, for that offensive tackle.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you look at, and I got to find it in my big green notebook. Look at Kansas City, and what did they do at left tackle this year? They signed a veteran. They had a big need because Orlando Brown left in free agency to Cincinnati. They had a big need at offensive tackle, and they signed on a 1-year deal they had Donovan Smith playing, who's a veteran guy at left tackle, and I want to say his deal was for only $3 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And
also
so,
a bargain.
Yeah. And they win the Super Bowl. And so when the Cowboys look around, okay, you got a Super Bowl team in Kansas City that was in a similar predicament as far as with an aging or a left tackle position that was open, and they were able to get by with and win a Super Bowl with Donovan Smith at left tackle on a bargain basement price for a veteran like him. And I'm about to find what his money was for sure. He was on a 1 year, $3 million deal last year with Kansas City.
Super Bowl champ.
And so you got one side working from that standpoint, and then you got Tyron, who is his worth that his career shows is worth more than he was on a bargain basement deal last year. And so that's where I think they are so far apart probably on the price there.
I'm pretty sure he felt like he sacrificed enough last year.
That's right.
And like, look, guys.
And now he's a free agent, so see what's out there.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Cowboys are probably at a point where, okay, we'll let you see what's out there. And then if the money's not out there, if, Kansas City, Donovan Smith was on a 1 year, $3 million deal. Kansas City, would they offer Tyron that, whatever?
I think he's also taking his health into consideration.
That's
and
right.
You have to, because he did have 14 games in 2023, but he hasn't played a consistent full season since 2015. He's always had some issues with some injuries. And as you get older into these years, you have to take that health into consideration with the contract.
My example of Donovan Smith, he played and started only 12 games last year. And so that's what happens when you've got 33, 34-year-old offensive linemen. And actually, Zach Martin's older than Tyron.
You have to put him on the pitch count.
That's right. Yeah. And so the Cowboys, the health that Zach Martin has had throughout his career has been something that the Cowboys should be very thankful for. And now he's actually, even though he came into the league 3 years after Tyron did, he's actually older than Tyron because he was a 5-year guy at Notre Dame, and Tyron was just at USC for 3 years. So,
well, the Cowboys did have 11 formal meetings with offensive linemen during the combine. They met with a lot of guys, though.
Sadness.
And the other thing on the offensive line is that Tyler Biadasz is a free agent. So you're looking at left tackle free agent, center free agent, right guard long in the tooth. And what's going to be interesting as far as the good news from a Cowboys perspective, if you're looking at offensive tackle in the first round, this looks like a deep draft at offensive tackle. So.
Right.
The Cowboys picked number 24 overall, and that was where they were picking when they took Tyler Smith 2 years ago. And that enters the equation here, too. Just Mike Solari, now going into his second year as the offensive line coach, does he prefer Tyler Smith inside at guard, where he's a Pro Bowl caliber player, or could he push out to left tackle again like he did his rookie year?
Oh, yeah.
So then who's out there as far as the youngsters? Who's out there running sub-5 40-yard passes? What offensive tackles out there like that? None of them? No young?
No, there's a bunch of guys that could be there. The so-called experts project that there could be at least 6, maybe as many as 8 go in the first round, which would be... the interesting thing, going back on Tyler's draft, is the Cowboys are picking at this same spot, and the inventory of first-round caliber offensive tackles ended with Tyler Smith, and the Cowboys feel fortunate that he was still there when they took him,
right?
Because there was a drop-off to the next tier after that, and they could be facing that same situation this time. So.
We're going to see how that plays out.
Yep.
I found the video.
Of Tyler?
Tyron Smith?
Yeah.
We'll just let you smile.
I'll just smile.
Find humor at it.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't put me on the spot.
All right. We continue with more Mick shots. So much to get to. Oh, Savannah shots continue.
Savannah
in just
shots.
A moment.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Did you know that responding to one spam call can lead to more? Or that the IRS would never ask for your social security number on the phone? Beat scammers at their own game by subscribing to AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts and texts. At aarp.org/beatscammerstx, you can sign up to receive information that helps you recognize and avoid the latest scams. That's aarp.org/beatscammerstx.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, the official roofer of the Dallas Cowboys. We are back on some Cowboys updates from the last week, and I was thinking of bringing up Leighton Vander Esch. Yes, he is having some conversations, his agent with the Jones family, on his future here with the Cowboys. And we obviously know he has suffered a couple injuries with the neck, and so I think there's some conversations whether he will be returning to football in the future.
Yeah, that's my concern. Forget returning to the Cowboys, returning to play the game itself.
Or just, and as Jerry said on the bus on Friday, that's the bigger concern is beyond football. And so whatever the diagnosis and the prognosis is for that neck injury, that's where Leighton's got to make the decision. And Jerry was saying the Cowboys are supportive of whatever decision that Leighton decides to make, but it's up to him and what the doctors say about the future for him and as far as his life after football. And so Cowboys aren't saying anything right now about it. They're leaving it up to Leighton to say whatever he wants to say about it. And so
I was concerned about him even when he came back to play after the first injury.
Right.
Yeah, just anytime you're dealing with necks and spine and things of that nature, that's something that you don't want anyone to have to deal with. Good-looking kid, you know, I see him all the time when we do the pregame stuff on Saturdays with Spagnola. Man, he's just so much bigger when you see him.
Yeah.
That's the reason. That's the reason he was a first-round draft pick, 19th overall pick in the draft.
God.
He's a monster. He really is.
But he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, when you're 6'5", 255 pounds, and can move like him, and
got the baby face going.
But that's the problem with that linebacker position. It's a lot like running back. There's such a pounding at that linebacker position. If you look at even the great Luke Kuechly was a great example. How short was his career because he had concussion issues and he had to retire. You saw Sean Lee here with all the injuries that he had. It's very rare that an inside linebacker can go like Fred Warner has gone, pretty much injury-free, and play 17 games a year, And that's why it's tough pulling the trigger on a first-round draft pick for a middle linebacker because you just don't know, where they're going to be health-wise in a short amount of time.
I always, to me, I'm always a guy that believes in. Parents ask me all the time about kids playing different sports. I always believe that one sport will help you in different aspects of other sports. Mm-hmm. The mentality that it might take to play baseball is something that you can use in football. And mentality in basketball is something you can use in football.
Right.
And this guy was, from what I hear, one of the better basketball players.
Yeah, all-around athlete playing eight-man football, small town in Idaho, and so
they said that he came to California and averaged like 30 points on these guys. He's like, he brought a bunch of white guys come in from, where is he from?
Idaho.
And they're going to California. I don't know if they won the game, but they said he scored like 30-plus points. He averaged 30-plus points in the tournament. Yeah. So, just an all-around athlete, man. And I appreciate that because, I don't like the guys that are just so myopic in what sport they're going to play. I like it when they when they branch out and do other things because it develops you all the way around.
And you can't blame him for taking a look at his future and his health and if it makes sense for him to stay playing football. I'm not sure if he's had his first child yet or not, but he is supposed to be a first-time dad. And so you kind of take a look at some of those aspects and you're like, all right, is it worth maybe the potential of getting injured down the line, I
don't know how smart he is necessarily, but, there's always coaching if you really love the game that much.
Right.
And he seems to have great work ethic. I never heard anyone complaining about him being a good teammate. So, like you said, you got the kids now. You have a son or a kid, and now you want to, you could just branch out into coaching and still be around the game you love.
If you're looking for someone in the draft, a guy that I liked at the Combine, just starting to do my research on him, out of North Carolina State, Peyton Wilson, 6'4", 233 pounds, ran a 4.44. You like that speed?
Crazy, bro. That's just crazy, man.
And you talk about an all-around athlete. He was not only in obviously football, but he's a state champion wrestler in North Carolina, an all-conference lacrosse player as well. And his brother, he's also a baseball player. His brother actually pitches for the Milwaukee Brewers, Bryce Wilson. But he's also a guy that's had injury issues early in his his first year at North Carolina State, had a knee injury, missed that year. And then in 21, he had another injury, missed that year. But he was the Bednarik Award winner, Butkus Award winner out of North Carolina State. Peyton Wilson. But he turns 24 April 21st.
Okay.
So right before the draft. So it's a lot like Sean Lee. Well, Sean Lee was like 24 when he came into the league.
Why is that? Why was he?
Because he had injuries in college.
Okay.
So he stayed a little longer.
He stayed there longer, and so it's kind of the same way with this guy. Now,
24
Sean Lee,
though.
Yep, and Sean Lee was 20.
You can be that old in college,
sure, especially now.
Really,
especially
Red
now.
shirt,
So many of these guys now because they're getting the extra year for COVID.
Yeah, but before COVID, though,
that's one of the. I really believe we've had more rookies this year that made an impact in the league this year. I mean, just take the wide receiver position alone with Tank Dell at Houston and Rashee Rice at Kansas City, and there are others. I believe it's that extra year, even though they didn't play necessarily. At the big schools they did play a full schedule in the COVID year, but they got that extra year of eligibility. So they say there were more players in the draft last year than ever before. It was. I can't remember the exact number
would be
on it.
After the COVID thing kind of washes out, then it'll go back to kind of the normal.
And here's the other thing: there's fewer this year too. Not only because they've got through a little bit of that COVID year, although it's still impacting a little bit.
Yeah.
But NIL now is affecting it. Mm-hmm. Kids are staying in college now because
you can only stay in college so long.
Yeah,
Bill.
but there are a number of.
How old were you when you graduated?
I was 21.
Me too. 21. Right?
22.
22 at the most.
Yeah.
24?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Your birthday came early?
You're probably like this.
There's a lot of 6-year seniors this year.
Yeah.
But now there are a lot of kids are graduating by age 20 because they're getting college credit in high school. I mean, normal students, you know, they're getting college credit early, and so they got enough hours where they graduated at age 20 after 2.5 years of college, 3 years of college.
Well, that I get, but the 24, like damn, your birthday had to be early, then you had to be redshirted, then COVID, geez, and then you go on the you're like Mormons, you got to go on the on the what do they call that?
Their mission?
The mission.
The mission. Yeah, the 2-year mission.
The 2-year mission. Then, of course, the David Robinsons, the ones the naval thing. So, man,
the 2-year military.
30 years old. I'm a rookie.
but that's
running the 40.
You know, that's what's interesting about this NIL deal now, because it's like, okay, these kids are staying in school now because they got these green dollars that are flashing in front of their face. That okay,
no need in leaving college if it pays well.
Wait a second, he's this NIL. They're offering me $500,000. Okay, okay, I'm projected to be a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. All right, but I've got this $500,000. It's in my hand right now.
Right.
I have to make the team in the NFL to get that $500,000, and I'm not totally sure I can do it. And it's going to benefit me to have one more year.
It pays to stay in school.
And so they're staying in school. But here's what's going to happen on that. All right, they're going to get hurt or whatever.
Right.
And the other thing is they're coming into the league later.
Yeah.
So they're 24 or whatever.
Okay.
Next week, when we're looking at free agency, the prime age that these teams are looking at for players when they're trying to sign a guy in free agency is 26 years old. Okay, you want that 26-year-old. You don't want to give the money to the 28-year-old. You're so close to 30, you're going to break down, right? And so what's going to happen is
these college
players I can afford to leave college.
Yeah, but
I would not be able to afford to leave college because it pays so well.
But okay, so you're taking that money. Okay, it's in hand right now, but you may be giving up that money on that second NFL if you're that good of a player, because you're going to be too old to get the big money at 26.
It pays to stay in school.
Right now it pays to stay in school, but it doesn't necessarily long-term pay to stay in school because you're going to be too old to get the big money on the second contract.
They're taking their chances.
If you're not that good if you're a good college player and you know you're not going to be a good pro player. You stay your ass in school as long as you can.
That's right.
Because you're not going to be able to.
But if you're Xavier Worthy, if you're Xavier Worthy and you know you can run a 4.21 and become a first-round draft pick, then you turn pro.
There's more Everson Wallses out there than Worthies.
That's right.
So I'm going to stay my butt in school.
But if but you had the confidence.
I did, but everybody.
Okay, take you back.
I had the confidence here, but not necessarily a 4.2 off in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just put yourself in your 21-year-old Everson Wall's mind and body.
When you graduated.
Okay, when you graduated from Grambling. Okay, and you're not getting any looks from the NFL or whatever.
Okay.
But let's say, It would have been how much money would have kept you in school?
See what I'm saying?
$10,000 back then would have kept.
It's gonna be more than
this is 1981. Everson.
1981. Okay.
I made $12,000 my first year of working as a sportscaster. The whole year I made $12,000.
I would have had to come out, yes.
Yeah, you would have come out.
Yeah.
So now you put it in present day dollars.
You're talking $10,000 versus $500,000.
No, but your first contract as even like a 3rd or 4th round draft pick, okay?
Yeah, you're gonna
it's
get some
4
cash.
years, $3 million, $3.5 million, whatever.
The minimum alone is amazing. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Let's get back to linebackers, you guys.
I gave you mine, Peyton Wilson.
Real world.
Edgerrin Cooper from Texas A&M is another one that a lot of people have as the Daniel Jeremiah, in fact, has him as their number 1 linebacker and 21st overall on his list. That Peyton Wilson, Jeremiah's got him 47th on his overall rankings, the 3rd best linebacker. And so that you're getting into that second round realm there where he could be available. I think that's where the Cowboys will be looking at linebacker, will be in the second, third, fourth rounds, and you can find good linebackers in that spot in the draft, I think.
So Will McClay, when he was at the Combine, he was asked about the linebacker position. He said, we're looking for big athletic football players. We're always looking at linebackers. That's a position that in free agency and in the draft that we're going to have to look at because we want to add more players there.
The big thing on that is you're looking for a 3-down linebacker that you're drafting in the top 100 picks. And so that means in this day and age in the NFL, you got to have the athleticism to be able to cover, and that's why I like, and that's why some of these.
You want more Fred Warners out there.
Yeah,
that's
right.
You want.
And a 6'4", 230-pounder who can move.
And got that attitude, and he's the born leader, the guy that's ready to take over as soon as he comes into the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I want to go back. I'm sorry, but did you see any other offensive tackles out there? Because I don't think we even.
Let me go back to the offensive.
Talking about Tyron. I don't know if we.
I didn't watch the offensive lineman yesterday.
Okay.
That's on my things to do.
But
I can give you an idea.
Out there.
I'll give you an idea, and there's a lot of names that are very difficult to pronounce.
That is true.
The first one is not difficult to announce. The guy that's number one, and I'm going off Jeremiah's list here just because I wrote those down. Joe Alt of Notre Dame. He's got him as his 9th overall player, number 1 offensive tackle.
9th overall player.
Yeah. So he's a top 10 pick, right? And he probably, I think you're looking at the draft, you're probably going to have 3 quarterbacks go off the board first. 1, 2, 3. You could get a 4th in there, depending. And then you got Marvin Harrison Jr., who likely is, let's say he goes 4th to Arizona. And offensive tackles are going to start coming off the board quickly after that. There's an Oregon State offensive lineman, a Penn State offensive lineman. There are 2 and 3 on the list. Alabama offensive lineman. Just give you an idea. Jeremiah's 4th offensive tackle is his 13th overall pick. So he's got 4 offensive linemen from number 9 to number 13 on his list there. Amarius Mims out of Georgia is his 7th offensive tackle or offensive lineman that he's got listed, and it's his 19th overall pick. So the offensive linemen are going to start coming off the board. Keep in mind the Cowboys are picking 24th.
Okay.
And then the next one on his list, Jordan Morgan of Arizona, is 39th overall and his 8th offensive tackle. So
if Spags was here, then we would not be talking about offensive guards, correct?
Right.
Because you don't draft offensive guards in the first round.
Although, as it turns out, the Cowboys did 2 years ago. And a pretty good player,
Yeah,
too.
but he will argue that point as well.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, Tyler Guyton of Oklahoma is another one that Jeremiah has as his 6th offensive tackle, 18th overall. And he transferred from TCU to Oklahoma. He's 6'7", 328 pounds, and is athletic. The problem that I had in watching Oklahoma play, in 2022, he only started 5 games. And last year he started 10 games. But my issue with him is there were times where, why is he not playing? And at key points during the season. Is it an injury issue, or is it I'm protecting a business decision?
Right. Is it a lack of skill? Yeah.
Or lack of want to, or whatever. So that's my only issue with him, is just how much of a desire there is. So anyway, that gives you an idea on some of those offensive linemen.
I'm satisfied now. Okay.
There's a lot of them that are projected to go in the first round.
And so, what else are we looking for? Because are we looking for a DB?
They're looking at a lot of them. They're talking to a lot of them.
And running back too.
Oh, of course, running back.
We got to get to that.
Yep. How about we do that when we come back here on Savannah Shots in just a moment. Brought to you by
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Did you know that responding to one spam call can lead to more? Or that the IRS would never ask for your social security number on the phone? Beat scammers at their own game by subscribing to AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts and texts. At aarp.org/beatscammerstx, you can sign up to receive information that helps you recognize and avoid the latest scams. That's aarp.org/beatscammerstx.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Back to Mick Shots.
Register now for the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Youth Camps presented by Invisalign. Athletes of all skill levels, ages 6 to 16, are invited to learn from the best this summer at Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Football camps are led by former NFL players, and dance camps are taught by the current Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Register before May 17th to save $25. Visit dallascowboys.com/camps. Guys, we were just watching the TV here.
Everson,
for whoever's listening or watching, we're watching the Combine highlights right now.
Highlights on there, and Everson is going, wow, look at that. Wow, look at that.
What's his name?
You know, it reminds me of Everson. I did, this is 20 years ago, Dallas Desperados arena football game. And Rocket Ismail, I did a game with him. I was a play-by-play, and Rocket was the analyst. And this was the first time that he had ever seen an arena football game.
Right.
And so he was just amazed.
Oh my gosh.
And he's a kid at heart. He's the biggest kid at heart.
Yeah, and so it was at, I think it would have been, I guess it maybe was at the AAC. I guess it was at the AAC.
They all were at the AAC.
Yeah, that's right. I was thinking,
well,
was it early enough where it was a reunion arena? But it was at the AAC. Anyway, so Rocket is there, and all you could say was, wow, look at that.
That was his color commentary.
That was his commentary. It came across great because it was just, the boyish enthusiasm that Rocket has for everything.
So into it was. Yeah.
It's real.
But it was like, this is the first time. And so I just was reminded of that as Everson's watching Xavier Worthy run a 4.21. And I already told him about it. And wow, look at that. Man, he looked and then
the visual is totally
that's
different.
That's right.
And then the other guy,
Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback. So Everson then starts telling another story, and I said, "Oh, look at the screen. There's the cornerback from Toledo." And he starts looking at that. And he goes, "Wow,
Toledo.
Look at that."
Toledo.
He's from Toledo.
What's the big man's name?
Good.
What's the big man's name?
Thales Fuaga.
Come on, man. That is wow. That is
Washington.
wow.
Wait, no.
Watching him move, all of that massive body going in different directions quickly. Quickly, that is impressive.
Yeah, that's the thing. Good. That's the thing I think that will throw people on the combine, though, is in contrast to even 20 years ago, especially 30 years ago, the training that these prospects go through for 2 months, 6 weeks to 8 weeks before the combine, they are being trained specifically for those drills at the combine.
Yes.
And so they are blowing up. Even a 40 time, they are being taught by Michael Johnson, the world's greatest sprinter.
Wow.
That
it's strategic. It is strategic for the combine.
That
they're training.
Being coached that you got to stay in a straight line when you run. You got to keep your head down, whatever, Whereas before, guys would just run, and that makes a huge difference in a 4.5 and a 4.8.
And it doesn't just make a huge difference at camp. I always believed in drills making you a better player.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're teaching them the right way to do it. You're going to need this exact technique when you get to the pros. I don't know what you're doing in college right now, but you're going to need this when you get to the pros. And I've always appreciated drills because they just get you ready. You know, they get your body, and your mind and your feet. You know, they get them connected. There's nothing like having that repetition.
Yeah.
Having that repetition to where you don't even have to think about it anymore.
Which is why even late in the season, there's drills that professional athletes who have been doing this for 30 years, since they were 5 years old, who are doing these technique drills that they have to do. It's part of the process.
I recall when I trained, you know, if you didn't have the ability to have someone out there training with you, a wide receiver to train with, you could play other sports that have that same movement, that same abrupt movement. In my tennis, tennis used to help me with my range, my lateral movement, because I had my sister taught me how to play, and there's some good guys I grew up with that could play. And when you're up on that net and you want to get that ball, you want to be able to reach going left or right. You know, it becomes instinctive when you're even training for another sport. And so that's why you always use other sports, as we just talked about. You use other sports to make you good in what you do. You just have to be, you know, just one-track minded and just train football drills is one thing. But when you get out there and you're playing baseball, you're playing basketball, even when you're swimming, those things can be drawn upon to make you better at this particular sport.
Okay, so we'll get back to free agency and everything in just a second. But just one more thing on that. Okay, so now you see kids today, okay, and their parents. Okay, Johnny, shows all this ability in football. I mean, he's just killing the sixth grade flag football, and so now, or this, say he's seventh grade, and he's playing on his seventh grade team in pads tackle, and then they got flag football in the spring, and so Johnny, instead of having Johnny play basketball and baseball, okay, Johnny's going to instead play football. There's a winter flag football league, and then there's a spring one too. And so he's going to do football year round. Or take a basketball player. It happens all the time now. Basketball used to be a winter sport.
Right.
Now it's every season.
Summer league.
There's a spring. There's a winter league. There's a spring league. There's a summer league. There's a fall league.
Yeah.
And so you play basketball year round, whatever. And so, what would you recommend if you've got a versatile athlete, son or daughter? What is your recommendation to those parents on what they should do?
I recommend that they go at their own pace. Do not let any coach tell you that he's just going to be this football player or basketball player going around to all of these camps back to back to back. You have to diversify. You just have to. You have to. If you're that player,
some point.
If you're that player that can do all of that, then you need to do all of that. I mean, you know, I always say the more you can do, the more you can do. And trust me, it helps. I didn't get those interceptions just because I could track the ball. I got those interceptions because I could track the ball. And when I played basketball, the coach said, get the ball at his highest point.
And when you played center field in baseball.
When you play center field in baseball, that teaches you how to track the ball.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can do all you want. And if you got another wide receiver out there and you're a defensive back, okay, now we got the quarterback. He's going to be – well, you can just play baseball and learn that. You know, so you need to take advantage of what you have the ability to do right now, because then your time gets a lot shorter as you get older. When you're young, you have that chance to go into all sports. When you get older, that's when things start winding. You start whittling it down to really just a couple of sports. You can't go 3 sports necessarily in high school.
And you look at these draft prospects, and so many of the best ones, they're multiple sport athletes in high school. You know? Of course,
they're versatile.
To me, track is the best. To me, soccer first when you start off. As you get older, especially your senior year in high school, if you're not running track, you should try to run track.
Yeah.
Because the development that your body's ready to go through at 16, 17, 18 years old, it's ready for that leap. Because now you're going into 17, 18 years old, you're going to college. You're up there with, I was 17 years old, I'm going against Doug Williams. He's 23. I mean, come on. So you're going against men. And now, of course, with this COVID thing, you were talking about players coming out older. You got to be ready, man. You have to be ready.
And that's what
when you
college coaches, scouts, NFL, even NFL, they want to know, did you run track in high school?
Yeah, it's a lot more advanced
track
now,
practice is the hardest practice I've ever had in my life. I've actually pulled a muscle in my butthole. That's just how bad. I'm talking 8th grade. I couldn't even cut my yard. I couldn't even cut my mom's yard.
Where's Doug with the cow bite?
We are on the air, right?
What were we talking about?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Okay, what else is on your legal pad?
All righty. We're going to get over to Michael Gallup. How about that?
Michael Gallup.
Yes. So they obviously, the Cowboys want to have some conversations with him about his future here in Dallas. Jerry made some comments last week about meeting with his agent, but they want to have a sound decision with Michael involved to see where he's going to be going in the future.
Well, and he's under contract, and I'm going to pull up his contract right now. And obviously, what we're seeing with Michael, with CD where he is, and Brandon Cooks, and Jalen Tolbert, and there's some good wide receivers in this draft. Cowboys, have to be interested in some of those wide receivers. That's a position you're always trying to supplement, and you never know. In the wide receiver, you can find a really good wide receiver in the 5th round who's a lot cheaper. And obviously, Michael's contract for this year, it's the 3rd year of this deal, and his base salary is $8.5 million. His cap number is $13.8 million. Now, the Cowboys can save some money, whatever. I think what's probably happening here when Jerry's talking about having a conversation with Michael and his agent is trying to figure out a way to reduce that base salary so that he can stay here and where there's a comfort zone for Michael here with the Cowboys too. The Cowboys love Michael, but his production has not been where it needed to be for commensurate with that money. And so then
39 catches, 424 yards in 2022. 34 catches, 418 yards in 2023.
There you go.
Yeah, you have to have those performance conversations with them in a way.
And then Michael will be left with a decision. And I'm just reading. I'm no one has told me this or anything. I'm just speculating that this is probably what Jerry is looking at when he says that he is going to have a conversation with Michael about it. I think they want him here, but they want it on a deal where that can benefit both sides. And even from Michael's standpoint, it could benefit him. He has a comfort level here with the Cowboys where if he were to be released, what would be out there for him coming off those seasons that he's had and the injury that he had.
I'd like a realistic conversation with our trainers in regards to coming off of these injuries. And we talked about how that first year, this is something that we really didn't talk about in the past, about what it's like to come off of major surgery after missing.
Especially one that was late in the season like that. It was a February surgery, too.
How much, because he's not going to say it. The player's not going to say, hey, I'm still feeling something. Or I can't, my leg is not as powerful as it was based on the surgery. He's not going to say that. He's going to go out there and say, hey, I feel good. I'm going out here, I'm going to play. Every week I'm going to play, but your production's going down each year. And so the trainers, to me, need to have a real conversation of, do you get that buffer year after surgery? Is the second year, has it been, if you track all the injuries and surgeries that we've had, have they had this 1 year that was a buffer year? And did they come back in the second year and do even better?
Yeah, and
that's something they need to track.
Assess the performance.
Yes, assess. That's something they need to assess. And I think it would be very interesting. That's the decision. That should be the decision you make should be based on that finding, because I've seen he was one of the more athletic receivers I've ever seen. We had 1,000 yards was a few years ago. I mean, really, some of the moves he made, the more underrated moves I've ever seen by a wide receiver, and he made them into successful plays. I don't know about getting back to that, but can he get better than last year and get close to that?
Well, and his birthday is today, 28 years old today. It kind of gets back, okay, a week from now, if he's out there in the free agent market where there's a ton of wide receivers out there, there's a ton of really good wide receivers in the draft, what kind of money is going to be out there for him at age 20? It kind of gets back to what I was saying, that 26 is the prime spot for a free agent where you get the big buck, which is what he was 2 years ago when he got the big bucks. And now he's 28, and so I think the players have to realistically, with good advice from their agent, look at what the market is out there and make the best decision for themselves.
I think we have to look at this game on both sides. First, you talk about, players are getting younger. That's true. But you also talk about the techniques that they have now when they train even older players. That's something that needs to be considered. Older players may still have a place in this league simply because of their discipline and the way that they carry themselves throughout the season. So I think they need to start taking a better look at older players, because these techniques that they have these days, it's improving them as well, and it's affecting their longevity in a good way.
And even taking a look at some of those younger players that you already have and giving them the ability to step up in a way as well if that vet is not excelling in a certain area. I mean, like you said, Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks.
Right.
You can kind of take a look at these guys and say, hey, they made some plays for us this year already.
They sure did.
I mentioned looks like 3 quarterbacks will go in the first 3 picks in the draft. Caleb Williams, a quarterback from USC, Everson. I don't know if you heard this or not, but at the combine, he didn't do a physical, which is common. I mean, that's one of the main reasons that it is the most important reason probably that you have a combine, is that you can go, even for the player's standpoint, they can go to one place, do a physical that every team has access to the results, and he doesn't have to do it every place else that he goes then. And so, but he decided he's not going to do a physical there. He'll do a physical at wherever team he visits, whatever, he'll do a physical. So he's going to have to do a physical at Chicago, and he'll have to do one with Washington, he'll have to do one whatever. I wanted to get Everson's take on it. What else about Caleb?
They also want a piece of the team.
Well, that was what came out before. Yeah, right.
Wait, what?
Yeah, his dad. His dad said they want, whatever team he goes to, they want minority stock.
Interesting.
So
that's not bad.
He's gonna.
That's forward thinking.
He's in a position.
I like that.
He's in a position of leverage.
I like
and they're trying to make the most of that.
I'm surprised that's the first person to even think of that.
I don't think they're allowed to do that.
They're not allowed?
No.
Okay.
You're not allowed to own You're not allowed to own a piece of the team and actually play.
I'm pretty sure they can come up with something.
You know what their answer to that is? When Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys, you weren't able to do a lot of the marketing.
That's right. How the heck you gonna take a bankrupt team and then you get to keep all your proceeds? Yeah, come on. They
want to change the rules.
That's right.
Go big or go home.
The rules can be changed. And with me though, I was never in this position, but I've heard stories. Dion was one of them, and also Ron Springs told me the story about, because Sean Springs, when he was coming out, he was a stud. And so, you had people, the scouts come around there, and they try to bully the players sometimes. Hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I need you to do that. So I think it was the Giants scout. He came around, and he wanted Sean to run a 40. And I think he had already done enough. And, Sean was playing the bougie, I'm the man type thing, which they deserved. And so the guy goes, well, hey, man, I need you to run for me. He said, Ron goes, well, what team are you with? He said, the Giants. He said, don't worry. He won't be around by then. He won't even be around by then. And I think Deion had a similar situation to where he ran his 40, I believe. And like, hey, I want you to run for me. Like, well, who are you with? Well, no, I won't even be around by the time.
So do you think there are teams that would, Caleb dictating things that, no, we're going to do it this way, or Deion in that case 35 years ago, whatever. Do you think there are NFL teams that would say, I don't want any part of that? That's a red flag.
It's just like any other time. If the risk is worth it, if the risk is worth the reward, then you take them. You're going to take them. I mean, look at LT. Look at Lawrence Taylor. I mean, come on. He had issues not just before he got drafted, but all through his career and up to this day. And yet he's still LT, and everybody gives him a pass for being LT. And I'm all for that as well. That's my classmate, so I'm good. I'm good with that.
All right. I think we survived an hour without Mickey.
We did. You think he's listening?
I think we flourished.
I think we did too.
I think we rename it.
I'm all about Savannah shots. I'm all about Savannah shots. I think
Mickey's going to cut short his vacation and get back here as quickly as possible.
I think so too.
And see if his name is still in the lineup next Monday.
He'll be at another time. We'll be Savannah shots. He'll be with somebody. We'll give it back to Jesse.
We'll have Producer Supreme sitting in that.
We'll give it back to Jesse.
Perfect.
No, we'll have Producer Supreme sitting in that seat.
There you go.
Okay.
That'd be
When
cool.
Mickey comes back next Monday, let's all four of us be sitting here, and Mickey
Chris
can be
Chris
back.
will want a raise after that. Chris will want a raise after that.
All right. Well, next Monday will be an hour away from free agency.
I may not be here.
What?
Way to break it to us.
Just let me know.
You sound like off the commercial. The guy didn't know that they were having a sale on burgers. What? Yeah, the poster's right here, buddy.
All right, so Everson might be in deep negotiations with an NFL team next Monday.
That's right.
So, all right, until then, we will see you again on the next edition of Savannah Shots, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Oh, Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?